That's an excellent story. I personally subscribe to the philosophy that if you're not first, you're last. I personally subscribe to the philosophy that if you're not first, you're last.
If you're not first, you're last.
I promised you an exciting slate of games in this second week of the Tournament of Champions, and our first semifinal is certainly not disappointing. This is the Final Wager. I'm Keith Williams, and this is the kind of situation this blog was meant to handle. Doesn't look like anything at first, but once we start digging into the calculations, we'll reveal how complicated it's going to be. We'll start with first and second Julia and Terry. If Terry doubles up, she'll have 16-4. So to cover her, Julia will want to wager 44.01. Leave that at 4,400 for now. If she's wrong with that wager, she'll be left with 7,600. So to stay above that, Terry can wager up to 600 or 599. We'll leave it at 600 for now. And Jared, well, Jared already has 7,600. So if he just wagers 0, and if Julia tacks on that extra $1, she'll lose to him by $1. So now, Julia has an option. She says, all right, do I think Terry's going to double up? If so, maybe I go for that extra $1. The risk there is that if Jared does wager 0, I'm going to lose by $1 if I get it wrong. So she could tack on that extra $1, and that's going to depend on what she thinks Terry and Jared are going to do. If Jared wagers anything, he's going to lose to Julia, so if he wants to wager something, if he's afraid of some smaller wager out of either of his opponents, then he can go for everything. Terry might say, okay, Jared's going to wager 0, so I'm going to wager something to stay above him, up to $5.99. Or maybe Jared is going to double up, and in which case I should just try to cover him, and I should probably go for everything anyway, because that's the right way to play, and there's a chance that Julia will leave off that extra $1, aiming for the tie on the downside. So as Julia, what do you think each of these players is going to do? They each have two options. They can go small, or they can go large. If they both go small, Julia could just wager 0 and be fine. Put that for now. If Terry goes big and Jared goes small, Julia can either aim to lock out Terry and lose to Jared on the downside, or aim for a tie with Terry, hoping for a tiebreaker if they both get it right, and aim for a tiebreaker with Jared if they both get it wrong. And then there's a third option, which in my mind is the most compelling. Jared is known to be a very good geography player, so it wouldn't surprise me if he went for everything here. If he does go for everything, he's going to have 15-2. So to cover that, Julia would have to wager 32.01. This does the same thing as a 0 wager if both of them wager small. But if Jared does go large and Terry stays small, then this will cover him. So there's no risk in doing this 32.01 wager. If she's wrong with that, though, you'll see she's going to have $87.99. $599 more than Terry. So Terry is almost compelled to wager $5.99 exactly if she thinks Julia is going to go for this 32.01 wager. She could also, of course, go for 600 in case Julia goes for 3,200. I don't really think that's a good play. Or if she wants to win outright against Julia on the downside, she could fall into a tie with Jared, and maybe a three-way tie with Julia. If Julia wagers 4,400, it just gets really complicated. So, what did each of our players do? Jared missed and went for that 0 wager. Wasn't really expecting that, but it's a solid play. Terry also missed, and she too went for 0. A good play, but a little bit worse than this $5.99. And Julia took 15 minutes to write down her wager. Alex answered every conceivable question out of the audience, kept looking back. Julia's still working, I guess. Julia, are you done yet? Finally, after erasing a 0 wager, It didn't matter, because she got it right and went for the straight-up win, 4,500, a little bigger than I would usually like, but I think everybody knew that it was a moot point anyway. Despite insisting as Hugh Downs that she should always play for the win, Julia, after we did our interview back in August, she told me that she thought there was nothing more exciting than being involved in a tiebreaker question, having just watched Jeff Shea beat Alan Kulik on the buzzer in the teen tournament. So I thought she might go for the tie, but in the end, her killer instinct won out, and she'll be back on Thursday for the 2-day Total Point Affair. Arthur Chu, her arch nemesis, is playing tomorrow. Will he join her? Or will it be Mark Jappinga? Or Rebecca Ryder? Only one way to find out. Watch Jeopardy and then come join me here on the Final Wager. We'll see you then.